right, there we go. Welcome, as always, to today's daily Bible reading. As always, I'm Cleo. Today, we're going to be starting our reading of Numbers. Yesterday, we concluded our reading of Leviticus. Leviticus was a lot about the Lord's various laws, some of which being examples like Leviticus 11, what we sometimes call his dietary law, what we can and cannot eat according to the Lord, what is sinful to eat, as well as Leviticus 23, his feast days, which are just like celebrations to the Lord, days in which we are commanded to feast unto him. But a lot of Leviticus talked about, a lot of Leviticus ended up talking about the priest and the priesthood, about who the priests were, Aaron and his sons after him, Aaron's seed, as well as what their jobs were, the tabernacle which they were meant to take care of and to keep holy, as well as use for the sacrifices, as well as use it for like things like the Feast of Atonement or the Day of Atonement, in which the high priest, at this time being Aaron, would go behind the veil to the place called the Most Holy, where the Ark of the Covenant was. And they would do that only that one time a year. But that's just a brief, very brief overview of some of the things we saw in Leviticus, because they were starting Numbers 1, where we just sort of get to see the continuation of Israel's journey in the wilderness. With that being said, since today is February 23rd, we will be starting today with our daily proverb being Proverbs 23. So without further ado, go ahead. Proverbs 23 and 1. When thou sittest to eat with a ruler, consider diligently what is before thee, and put a knife to thy throat, if thou be a man given to appetite. Be not desirous of his dainties, for they are deceitful meat. Here it's even giving a good example of Proverbs 23 so far. It's sort of in the same way Proverbs talks a lot of time about strange woman, just about being careful about what is said before you. Here it gives an example of like a king with his meats, where essentially you don't know what he's giving you, so in the same way you shouldn't just eat without hesitation. That's why he says in verse 2, if thou be put a knife to thy throat, if thou be a man given to appetite. So if you're a man, someone who typically would just start gouging and eating, put a knife to your throat, essentially saying it's so serious that you need to do anything in order to stop yourself from just going wild and eating. And that's really the same with anything spiritually that we consume or eat of today. Where we eat of things that we listen to, that we like, and that we choose to obey, right? And we can't just obey and listen to everything, because not everything is of the Lord. Not everything is of God. So we need to be diligent, even as Ephesians 6 even talks about try the Spirit by the Spirit. We need to take the time to weigh out, what is this holy? Is this really of God, or is this of Satan? 4. Labor not to be rich, cease from thine own wisdom. Will thou set thine eyes upon that which is not, for riches certainly make themselves wings, that they fly away as an eagle toward heaven. Eat thou not the bread of him that hath an evil eye, neither desire thou his dainty meats. For as he thinketh in his heart, so is he. Eat and drink, saith he to thee, but his heart is not with thee. So he's giving you things that aren't really good for you, and as even 5 says, in comparing it to riches, right? The riches of this life, they fly away. You can live very nicely in this life, but eventually this life will come to end. And you'll be faced with the life to come, the life with Christ, either to, as Matthew puts it, eternal life or eternal damnation. 8. The morsel which thou hast eaten shalt thou vomit up, and lose thy sweet words. Speak not in the ears of a fool, for he'll despise the wisdom of thy words. Remove not the old landmark, and enter not into the fields of the fatherless. For their Redeemer is mighty, and he shall plead their cause with thee. Apply thine heart unto instruction, and thine ears to the words of knowledge. Withhold not correction from the child, for thou beatest him with the rod, he shall not die. Or even like 10 and 11, don't remove not the old landmark and enter not into the fields of the fatherless. We're basically do right to those who are like little before you, or people who, like we would say, like the poor, right? People you can easily take advantage of. Don't take advantage of them, because the Lord is their Redeemer, right? So for that reason, we should hear the instruction of the Lord, right? That's what it's saying, apply thine heart to instruction, thine ears to the words of knowledge. It's talking about the Lord's way, this Bible, the Word of God. 14. Thou shalt beat him with a rod, and shalt deliver his soul from hell. My son, if thine heart be wise, my heart shall rejoice, even mine. Yea, my reign shall rejoice when thy lips speak right things. Let not thine heart envy sinners, but be thou in the fear of the Lord all the day long. For surely there is an end, and thy expectation shall not be cut off. Hear thou, my son, and be wise, and guide thine heart in the way. Be thou among winebibbers, among riotous eaters of flesh. For the drunkard and the glutton shall come to poverty, and drowsiness shall clothe a man with rags. So even then, verses 20 and 21 and 17 are really saying the same thing. Where with sinners or drunkards and winebibbers, don't seek to be like them, or don't be envious of how their lives are going. Because sometimes in this life, the sinners do well, do better than the righteous appear to do. But as 18 says, for surely there is an end, and thy expectation shall not be cut off. So there's an end to all matters. And there's an end to the wicked and an end to the righteous. But the thing is, with the righteous, your ending is not cut off. Meaning that we are promised life in the next life with God. Like we will get eternal life with the Lord. And that we are righteous, because we are righteous. But the wicked, their life will be cut off. They will be doomed to eternal damnation in the next life. 23. Buy the truth and sell it not, also wisdom and instruction and understanding. The father of the righteous shall greatly rejoice, and he that begetteth a wise child shall have joy of him. Thy father and thy mother shall be glad, and she that bare thee shall rejoice. My son, give me thine heart, and let thine eyes observe my ways. For a whore is a deep ditch, and a strange woman is a narrow pit. She also lieth in way as for a prey, and increaseth the transgressors among men. This even goes to something like what we talked about before, but the strange woman is the same way as like the king from before. He's comparing them to a deep ditch, a narrow pit, and lieth in wait for prey. It increases the transgressors among men. So they're just going to cause you to sin. They're going to draw you away from God. And we've already briefly talked about what happens to sinners and people who are drawn away from God. Where it's only destruction that's promised to them. There is an expected end, and it's not a good one. 29. Who hath woe, who hath sorrow, who hath contentions, who hath battling, who hath wounds without cause, who hath redness of eyes. They that tarry long at the wine, they that go to seek mixed wine. So who is really suffering? Who is facing this terrible end? They that tarry long at wine, they that seek mixed wine. The same as like the drunkard and the glutton that come to poverty in 21. 31. Look not thou upon the wine when it is red, and when it giveth its color in the cup, when it moveth itself aright. At the last it biteth like a serpent, and stingeth like an adder. And even here he's talking about wine or like drunkenness again. But it's not even just physical drunkenness he's talking about here. More importantly, he's talking about spiritual drunkenness. Because you can get drunk off of doctrine. You can get drunk off of sin. Because the thing is, Jesus drank wine. Jesus drank wine and alcohol so much that the Pharisee tried calling him a wine bibber as an insult to him. But Jesus drank alcohol. He turned water to wine in the wedding in Cana. So the issue is not even just the drinking itself. Now, don't get it wrong. You can be a drunkard, which the Lord takes issue with. When your drinking takes away from you doing the things you ought to for the Lord. When your drinking causes you to sin, and so on and so forth. But just the act of drinking itself is not a sin. But even here, more importantly, we're talking about getting spiritually drunk. Because at the last, it biteth like a serpent, stingeth like an adder. That's the same as what we've seen over and over in Proverbs about sin. The end of the wicked is destruction. 33, thine eyes shall behold strange women, and thy heart shall utter perverse things. Yea, thou shalt be as he that lieth down in the midst of the sea, or as he that lieth upon the top of a mast. They have stricken me, shalt thou say, and I was not sick. They have beaten me, and I felt it not. When shall I wake? I will seek it yet again. And yeah, that's Proverbs 23. As always, a great, great proverb. Peace, Sister X. And thank you for joining us. But yeah, there's always Proverbs chock full of wisdom. But yeah, beyond that, there's nothing I really have to say about Proverbs 23. Yeah. So that being said, we can go ahead and move on to Numbers 1. All right. Numbers 1 and verse 1. And the Lord spake unto Moses in the wilderness of Sinai, in the tabernacle of the congregation, on the first day of the second month, in the second year after they were come out of the land of Egypt, saying, Take ye the sum of all the congregation of the children of Israel after their families, by the house of their fathers, with the number of their names, every male by their polls, from 20 years old and upward, all that are able to go forth to war in Israel, thou and Aaron shall number them by their armies. So now, it's been a little over a year since they've left the land of Egypt, and they've been in the wilderness this whole time. And now at this point, the Lord is getting ready to bring them to the promised land. Remember, the promised land right now belongs to like the Canaanites. So that's like the Philistines, the Perizzites, the Jebusites, the Hittites, so on and so forth. So they're going to have to go there to conquer the land. So now the Lord's trying to get a count of, okay, who are all the men of Israel that can go up to war to fight? Like who is like good to go up for this battle that we're going to have soon in the future? Right? 20 years old and upward. All that are able to go forth to war in Israel, thou and Aaron shall number them by their armies. Verse 4. And with you there shall be a man of every tribe, every one head of the house of his fathers. And these are the names of the men that shall stand with you. Of the tribe of Reuben, Elizur the son of Shedeur. Of Simeon, Shelumiel the son of Zurishaddai. Of Judah, Nahshon the son of Amminadab. Of Issachar, Nethaneel the son of Zuar. Of Zebulun, Eliab the son of Helon. Of the children of Joseph, of Ephraim, Elishama the son of Ammihud. Of Manasseh, Gamaliel the son of Pedazur. Of Benjamin, Abidan the son of Gideoni. Of Dan, Ahiezer the son of Ammishaddai. Of Asher, Pagiel the son of Okran. Of Gad, Elisaphat the son of Duel. Of Naphtali, Ahira the son of Enan. So here are like the people who will be considered the leaders of each tribe. And if you even notice, Joseph has been split up into two. Ephraim and Manasseh, their leaders being Elishama and Gamaliel. Because remember, like, Joseph was considered such a large tribe. Or even as, like, Jacob put it when he was alive and blessing Joseph, you have so much increase that your lot will be divided between your two sons, between Ephraim and Manasseh. And we'll see this happens a lot more throughout just the history of Israel, but it's rarely ever the tribe of Joseph. It is split up to the half tribe of Ephraim and the half tribe of Manasseh. And even here we'll notice there are 12, but Levi is missing. And as we keep reading, it will be because Levi's inheritance in pretty much all things were the Lord. So they weren't the ones who were going up to war, nor did they have like their own giant blotch of land that they inherited once they got into the land. So that's why, again, Levi, and we'll see that as we read more too, Levi isn't amongst having one of their leaders here because they weren't one of the people going up to fight. 16. These were the renowned of the congregation, princes of the tribes of their fathers, heads of thousands in Israel. Because even remember, Moses split up, in like Exodus 15, around that area, he split it up to where there were judges and princes amongst Israel, certain people over certain matters. But these are like the greatest of the people in each of the tribe, right? For each tribe itself. Right, 17. And Moses and Aaron took these men which are expressed by their names, and they assembled all the congregation together on the first day of the second month, and they declared their pedigrees after their families by the house of their fathers, according to the number of the names, from 20 years old and upward by their polls. As the Lord commanded Moses, so he numbered them in the wilderness of Sinai. And the children of Reuben, Israel's eldest son, by their generations, after their families, by the house of their fathers, according to the numbers of the names by their polls, every male from 20 years old and upward, all that were able to go forth to war. Those that were numbered of them, even of the tribe of Reuben, were 6,500. Of the children of Simeon by their generations, after their families, by the house of their fathers, those that were numbered of them according to the number of the names by their polls, every male from 20 years old and upward, all that were able to go forth to war. Those that were numbered with them, even of the tribe of Simeon, were 59,300. Of the children of Gad by their generations, after their families, by the house of their fathers, according to the number of the names, from 20 years old and upward, all that were able to go forth to war. Those that were numbered of them, even of the tribe of Gad, were 5,650. Of the children of Judah by their generations, after their families, by the house of their fathers, according to the number of the names, from 20 years old and upward, all that were able to go forth to war. Those that were numbered of them, even of the tribe of Judah, were 314,600. Of the children of Issachar by their generations, after their families, by the house of their fathers, according to the number of the names, from 20 years old and upward, all that were able to go forth to war. Those that were numbered of them, even of the tribe of Issachar, were 4,400. Of the children of Zebulun by their generations, after their families, by the house of their fathers, according to the number of the names, from 20 years old and upward, all that were able to go forth to war. Those that were numbered of them, even of the tribe of Zebulun, were 7,400. Of the tribe of Joseph, namely the children of Ephraim, by their generations, after their families, by the house of their fathers, according to the number of the names, from 20 years old and upward, all that were able to go forth to war. Those that were numbered of them, even of the tribe of Ephraim, were 40,500. Of the children of Manasseh by their generations, after their families, by the house of their fathers, according to the number of the names, from 20 years old and upward, all that were able to go forth to war. Those that were numbered of them, even of the tribe of Manasseh, were 32,200. Of the children of Benjamin by their generations, after their families, by the house of their fathers, according to the number of the names, from 20 years old and upward, all that were able to go forth to war, that those that were numbered of them, even of the tribe of Benjamin, were 35,400. Of the children of Dan by their generations, after their families, by the house of their fathers, according to the number of the names, from 20 years old and upward, all that were able to go forth to war, those that were numbered of them, even of the tribe of Dan, were 302,700. Of the children of Asher by their generations, after their families, by the house of their fathers, according to the number of the names, from 20 years old and upward, all that were able to go forth to war. Those that were numbered of them, even of the tribe of Asher, were 41,500. Of the children of Naphtali throughout their generations, after their families, by the house of their fathers, according to the number of the names, from 20 years old and upward, all that were able to go forth to war. those that were numbered of them, even of the tribe of Naphtali, were 3,400. These are those that were numbered, which Moses and Aaron numbered. And the princes of Israel, being 12 men, each one was for the house of his fathers. So were all those that were numbered of the children of Israel by the house of their fathers from 20 years old and upward. And all that were able to go forth to war in Israel, even all they were numbered, were 600,000 and 3,550. So again, these are the numberings of all the tribes. Each tribe, the specific number of men able to go forth to war from 20 years old and upward. And even again, we don't see the tribe of Levi here. We'll see in the very next verse why that is the case. All right? But we don't see the tribe of Levi here. But once again, we even see the tribe of Joseph split up again into the half tribes in verses like 32 through 35, with the half tribe of Ephraim and the half tribe of Manasseh. And even if you look at the numbers, the half tribe of Ephraim was 40,500, and the half tribe of Manasseh 32,200, which was the two of them of not too much lower or about the same number as some of the other tribes, like both of which were greater than what was it? Was it Naphtali? No, not quite. But still, both fairly large together. One, 40,000, and the other 32,000. So still, like, fairly in size, especially if you were to put them together, that would be over, like, 70,000, which would be the highest of all of the tribes. But they split them up into two. But still, like, back to the Levites, 47. But the Levites, after the tribe of their fathers, were not numbered among them. For the Lord had spoken unto Moses, saying, Only thou shalt not number the tribe of Levi, neither take the sum of them among the children of Israel. But thou shalt appoint the Levites over the tabernacle of testimony, and over all the vessels thereof, and over all the things that belong to it. They shall bear the tabernacle and all the vessels thereof. They shall administer unto it, and shall encamp round about the tabernacle. And when the tabernacle set forward, the Levites shall take it down. And when the tabernacle is to be pitched, the Levites shall set it up. And the stranger that cometh nigh shall be put to death. So Levites, again, they had a different job. So where the tabernacle, like all the vessels that were within it, the altar, the brazen altar where they would sacrifice, the Ark of the Covenant, the pillars that were used to like put the thing up, the sheet that was overlaid over the tabernacle, because you remember the tabernacle is another way of really saying tent. So they had pillars and like a cloth that they would overlay it with, and like even fastenings that would like hold the sheet in place to like build this like tent, right? The same way we would almost like build tents today. They would take all of these things and they would move the tabernacle. So their job wasn't to fight the war, but to actually move the house of the Lord, the tabernacle, with the children of Israel wherever they went. So they just had a different job. That's why they're not numbered here, because their job wasn't to fight the war. It was to take care of the Lord's business, take care of the Lord's tabernacle. And we'll see specifically what Levites have what job of taking care of what as we move a little bit further in Numbers. But for now, 52. And the children of Israel shall pitch their tents, every man by his own camp, and every man by his own standard, throughout their hosts. So we even say there's a dividing of the land, where each tribe supposedly gets like their own section. But again, it works a little different for Levi, 53. But the Levites shall pitch round about the tabernacle of testimony, that there be no wrath upon the congregation of the children of Israel. And the Levites shall keep the charge of the tabernacle of testimony. And the children of Israel did according to all that the Lord commanded Moses, so did they. But the Levites, they stayed around the tabernacle, because it was their job to take care of it. And like he even says at the end of 51, the stranger that cometh nigh shall be put to death. And that was not only the case for the stranger, because really it's even going more so specifically, as we sort of read for a little bit in Leviticus, the stranger that was circumcised and considered himself as part of the covenant, the Lord like kept his laws and so on and so forth, which included circumcision. would be put to death, would not be put to death of coming near to the Lord's tabernacle, but just like the stranger that wasn't would. In the same way as an Israelite that was unclean or sinning, when they would try to go up to like the holy place of the Lord, like the tabernacle, they would be put to death too, because the whole point is that you can't be sinful, you can't be unclean, you can't be dirty trying to come up into my clean, holy place. Still to the point, but the Levites were around that area because that is their responsibility, rather than the war and the fighting. Their responsibility was the tabernacle itself. But yeah. So that's chapter 1. Was that peace, tender-eyed sister? But with that, yeah, just like them counting the people, getting them ready to like fight in the war. Because again, they're going to the land of Canaan, which is currently inhabited by its people, by the Canaanites, right? The children of Canaan. So they need to take over that land. So they're getting ready for that fight. But yeah. Now we can go ahead to verse 2, chapter 2. Verse 1. And the Lord spake unto Moses and unto Aaron, saying, Every man of the children of Israel shall pitch by his own standard with the ensign of their father's house. Far off about the tabernacle of the congregation shall they pitch. Remember, now he's telling you, not the dividing of the land of how it will be in Canaan, but just how things are like while we're here and we're pitching around the tabernacle, like where everyone's going to be. The Levites were around the tabernacle, but everyone else had to be far off, which is, again, is what's reiterating even here. Everyone with their own family's crest, like everyone with their own people, but none of you guys are coming near to the tabernacle besides the Levites, as we saw in the last chapter. Right? Far off about the tabernacle of the congregation shall they pitch. And on the east side, toward the rising of the sun, shall they of the standard of the camp of Judah pitch throughout their armies. And Nahshon the son of Amminadab shall be the captain of the children of Judah. So now on the east side, Judah's over there. And Nahshon the son of Amminadab is the captain of the children of Judah. Again, these are, and we're going to keep seeing this happen as they list more of the tribes of Israel and where they were. But these are the princes from the last chapter. But they are made the captains over those tribes. Because remember, they're leading them out into battle. That's what all this is really the plan for, right? 4. And his host and those that were numbered of them were 14,600. And those that do pitch next unto him shall be the tribe of Issachar. And Nathaniel the son of Zuar shall be captain of the children of Issachar. And his host and those that were numbered thereof were 4,400. Then the tribe of Zebulun. And Eliab the son of Helon shall be the captain of the children of Zebulun. And his host, and those that were numbered thereof, were 7,400. And all that were numbered in the camp of Judah were 100,000 and 400,000 and 6,400 throughout their armies. They shall first set forth. So now we have the east side, of which Judah is like the leader, but under under Judah's banner, I guess you could call it, we have the tribe of Zebulun and the tribe of Issachar as well. They're on the east side too, but Judah's leading the charge. Verse 10. On the south side shall be the standard of the camp of Reuben, according to their armies, and the captain of the children of Reuben shall be Elizur the son of Shedeur. And his host and those that were numbered thereof were 46,500. And those which pitched by him shall be the tribe of Simeon. And the captain of the children of Simeon shall be Shelumiel the son of Zurishaddai. And his host and those that were numbered of them were 59,300. Then the tribe of Gad and the captain of the sons of Gad shall be Eliasaph the son of Ruel. And his host and those that were numbered of them were 45,650. And all that were numbered in the camp of Reuben were 100,050 and 1,450 throughout their armies, and they shall set forth in the second rank. So again, now we have the south side, and we've had Reuben and the people who fall under him, which were the tribe of Simeon, as well as the tribe of Gad. Where, like I said, they just set forth in the second rank. So now they're even preparing it to where, when they actually go out to fight, what sets of people go first. So the sets of Reuben would go second. after the set of Judah. Right? 17. Then the tabernacle of the congregation shall set forward with the camp of the Levites in the midst of the camp. As they encamp, so shall they set forward, every man his place, by their standards. So now the tribe of Levi, with carrying the tabernacle and all the things of the Lord, carrying all that, they would go too. And then we'll have two more groups on the back end. On the west side shall be the standard of the camp of Ephraim according to their armies. And the captain of the sons of Ephraim shall be Elishama the son of Ammihud. And his host and those that were numbered of them were 40,500. And by him shall be the tribe of Manasseh. And the captain of the children of Manasseh shall be Gamaliel the son of Pedahzur. And his host and those that were numbered of them were 32,200. Then the tribe of Benjamin and the captain of the sons of Benjamin shall be Abidan the son of Gideon. And his hosts and those that were numbered of them were 35,400. And all that were numbered of the camp of Ephraim were 100,000 and 8,000 and 100 throughout their armies. And they shall go forward in the third rank. And the sixth. Now we even have, on the west side, Ephraim, like the other half tribe of Manasseh, and Benjamin, all making up the west side of the rank of Ephraim, and they would go third. And so they would go after the Levites. 25. The standard of the camp of Dan shall be on the north side by their armies, and the captain of the children of Dan shall be Ahaziah the son of Ammishaddai. And his hosts and those that were numbered of them were 62,700. And those that encamp by him shall be the tribe of Asher. And the captain of the children of Asher shall be Pagiel the son of Okran. And his host, and those that were numbered of them, were 41,500. Then the tribe of Naphtali, and the captain of the children of Naphtali shall be Ahira the son of Enan, and his host, and those that were numbered of them, were 53,400. And all they that were numbered in the camp of Dan were 100,050, and 7,600, and they go hindmost with their standards. So now we have the north side being Dan and the people under him. So it's like the tribe of Asher and the tribe of Naphtali, and they would go last. So they would have Judah, Reuben, Levi in the middle. Then on the back end, protecting the tribe of Levi and the things of the tabernacle from the back end, we would have Ephraim and Dan. 32. These are those which were numbered of the children of Israel by the house of their fathers. All those that were numbered of the camps throughout their hosts were 600,000 and 3,550. But the Levites were not numbered among the children of Israel, as the Lord commanded Moses. And the children of Israel did according to all that the Lord commanded Moses. So they pitched by their standards, and so they set forward, everyone after their families, according to the house of their fathers. So now this is basically how they've set up their camp, and whenever they would move in this order. And yeah. That's chapter 2. Yeah. I don't have too much more to say after that chapter. Just them, as we saw from the last chapter, counting people to go to war. Well, now at this point, they are just preparing and setting up the ordinance, the protocol for how they move, where we're always going to have the tabernacle here and the Levites here in the middle protected, and we're just going to be moving two in front, two in the back. And that's we just move forward to get closer to going to the land of Canaan, which again, here they're in the wilderness, which is right over here. I need to get a bigger map that zooms in on that part. But it's still to the point. And that's essentially just the chapter. The second chapter of Numbers. Yeah. So with that, I think we're good to move on to chapter 3. Numbers 3 and verse 1. These also are the generations of Aaron and Moses in the day that the Lord spake with Moses in Mount Sinai. And these are the names of the sons of Aaron: Nadab the firstborn in Abihu, Eleazar and Ithamar. These are the names of the sons of Aaron, the priests which were anointed, whom he consecrated to minister in the priest's office. So here we have, just like Aaron and Moses' genealogy, Aaron and his sons, and his, as we saw in Leviticus, especially like Exodus like 28 and 29, Aaron and his sons were consecrated to be priests, and like his lineage more so going down. And that's something we'll see more and more as we go through Numbers, that it was specifically for Aaron's like lineage to be the priests, not just any Levite, right? So they were chosen to minister in the priest's office. Minister meaning just to do the job, or to do the set ordinance. So they were selected to do the job of the priest, is what that's saying. Verse 4. And Nadab and Abihu died before the Lord when they offered strange fire before the Lord in the wilderness of Sinai, and they had no children. This is something that we have read earlier. Nadab and Abihu offered strange fire before the Lord. What does that mean? Specifically what is strange fire talking about? We don't really know. All it really means, or specifically that we know, is that it was something that the Lord did not ask them to, or command them to do. Like we've already read Leviticus, and how the Lord was so specific in what you're offering, how you're offering it, when you're offering it, what you're offering it for, and so on and so forth. And strange fire, they just did something that went outside of that protocol, which is, it's always meant to be a good example for us that the Lord has a way. Well, a way seemeth right unto a man, but the end thereof are the ways of death, right? Where we just think something is good and it's a good way to do things, and especially since, I have good intentions, we think the Lord will wink at or be like, accepting of it. But in reality, the Lord has a specific way that he wants things done. And if what we're doing does not align with that, the Lord's just not going to be happy. Right? Obedience is better than sacrifice, as it's put in 1 Samuel, where the Lord wants us to do what he says, not just do whatever we think he'll like. Right? And this is a prime example. Instead of being obedient, they tried to give an extra sacrifice to the Lord that he didn't ask for. And they died because of it. Right? So it's always a good thing to internalize. But Nadab and Abihu died. So now they had to replace the priests, because these were the eldest of Aaron's 4 sons. In the wilderness of Sinai, and they had no children. And Eleazar and Ithamar ministered in the priest's office in the sight of Aaron their father. So now Eleazar and Ithamar had to replace them. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Bring the tribe of Levi near, and present them before Aaron the priest, that they may minister unto him. So now the Lord's starting to commit Levi to Aaron, who is the high priest, and his sons to do a job for them. Where, again, they aren't priests, but they're doing a job to help Aaron and his sons, the priests, and doing their job, right? So they may minister unto him. Because remember, the priests are ministering unto the Lord, or ministering in the priest's office. Levites are just ministering unto the priest. So they're following their instruction. 7. And they shall keep his charge. Who's charge? Aaron's charge. What Aaron's telling them to do. Right? Which is in the charge of the whole congregation before the tabernacle of the congregation to do the service of the tabernacle. That's their job. And we already saw a little bit in chapter 2 what that is, and that's carrying up the tabernacle. That's carrying up the things of the tabernacle, but we'll see more specifically. Verse 8. And they shall keep all the instruments of the tabernacle of the congregation, and the charge of the children of Israel to do the service of the tabernacle. And thou shalt give the Levites unto Aaron and to his sons. They are wholly given unto him out of the children of Israel. So Levi was given to the priests in order to accomplish this job of moving the things of the tabernacle. Because remember, even at this point, we have 3 priests. We have Aaron the high priest and Eleazar and Ithamar, the 2 other priests. Because remember, Nadab and Abihu at this point have been dead for a while. So we can't expect these 3 people to carry up the entire tabernacle, which is just a giant building, essentially, right? Granted, it's a tent, but still giant pillars, all the vessels, all of the Ark of the Covenant, all the sheets, which they overlaid the pillars to make the actual tent, and all the other things, right? These 3 people can't carry these things. So the tribe of Levi is given to you to take care of these things, right? To accomplish the purpose of the tabernacle in terms of moving it, right? They are wholly given unto him out of the children of Israel. And thou shalt appoint Aaron and his sons, and they shall wait on the priest's office. And the stranger that cometh nigh shall be put to death. But the priest's office is for Aaron and his sons, right? Very specific. 11. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, And I, behold, I have taken the Levites from among the children of Israel, instead of all the firstborn that openeth the matrix among the children of Israel. Therefore, the Levites shall be mine. Because all the firstborn are mine, for on the day that I killed all the firstborn in the land of Egypt, I hauled unto me all the firstborn in Israel, both man and beast. Mine shall they be, I am the Lord. And the Lord spake unto Moses in the wilderness of Sinai, saying, Number the children of Levi, after the house of their fathers. So now remember, they weren't numbered for the war, but now they're numbered for this, because this is their job. Take care of the tabernacle. So number the children of Levi, after the house of their fathers, by their families. Every male from a month old and upward shalt thou number. And Moses numbered them according to the words of the Lord as he was commanded. And these were the sons of Levi by their names, Gershon and Kohath and Merari. And these are the names of the sons of Gershon by their families. So now, we've had Gershon, Kohath, and Merari, and we'll see that how the work is even divided amongst these three families of the Levites, the Gershonites, the Kohathites, and the Merarites. Right? 18. These are the names of the sons of Gershon by their families, Libni and Shimei, and the sons of Kohath by their families, Amram, Izahar, Hebron, and Uzziel, and the sons of Merari by their families, Mali and Mushi. These are the families of the Levites according to the house of their fathers. And Gershon was the family of the Libnites, and the family of the Shimnites. These are the families of the Gershonites. Those that were numbered of them, according to the number of all the males from a month old and upward, even those that were numbered of them were 7,500. So of the Gershonites, of that family of the Levites, are 7,500. The families of the Gershonites shall pitch behind the tabernacle westward. So even the same way as we saw in the previous chapter, where the tribes of Israel split up. Now we have the families of the Levites being split up where they are around the tabernacle. And the chief of the house of the father of the Gershonites shall be Elisaph, the son of Lael. And the charge of the sons of Gershon in the tabernacle of the congregation shall be the tabernacle and the tent, the covering thereof, and the hanging for the door of the tabernacle of the congregation, and the hangings of the court, and the curtain for the door of the court, which is by the tabernacle, and by the altar round about, and the cords of it for all the service thereof. So the Gershonites, this family of Levites, they had the actual tent, like that cloth, that covering I talked about before, the cloth that made up the door of the tabernacle, the hooks and the circles, I can't remember, the rings that made up the actual hanging of the cloth, right? That they actually used to hang up the cloths, so on and so forth. Yeah, and all the covering. So that's all the stuff that they had to bear. 27. And of Kohath was the family of the Amramites, and the family of the Israelites, and the family of the Hebronites, and the family of the Uzzielites. These are the families of the Kohathites. Fun fact, we'll see this a little bit later too. Moses and Aaron were from this branch of Levi. They were from Amram, but they were rather from Kohath, right? But to the point, but specifically Aaron's sons, from even this lineage, were meant to be the priests. But in general, all the sons of Kohath, which is again different, they we'll see what their job is. I'll just keep reading. 28. And the number of all the males from a month old and upward were 8,600, keeping the charge of the sanctuary. The families of the sons of Kohath shall pitch on the side of the tabernacle southward. And they were on the south side. And the chief of the house of the fathers of the families of the Kohathites shall be Elizaphan, the son of Uzziel. And their charge shall be the ark. and the table, and the candlestick, and the altars, and the vessels of the sanctuary wherewith they minister, and the hanging, and all the service thereof. So, and their job was to move and take care of the ark, and the vessels, and the tabernacle, the candlestick, so on and so forth. Which, even remember, the most holy things of the Lord, the priests had to cover up before the Levites came in and took them. Because even to the point, again, there is a separation between the Levites and the priests. The priests could do and touch things in a way that the Levites couldn't. So, back in Leviticus, it talked about how the Levites, whenever they would come and grab certain things, and specifically the most holy things, like the, like you talked about like the vessels of the sanctuary and things of that nature, the priests would have to come and like cover them up first. To where, hey, you guys can't just grab it any kind of way. Like, we have to make sure it's like prepped for you, that's covered up. Otherwise, like the book says, like they would be cut off, like they would be killed for it. Because again, these are the most holy things of the Lord. So even the Levites could just touch them in any kind of way, right? But 32. And Eleazar the son of Aaron the priest shall be chief over the chief of the Levites, and have oversight of them that keep the charge of the sanctuary. So again, even Aaron's son, like the priest, Eleazar, was chief over the chief of the sons of Levi. So all of these divisions, the Gershonites and the Kohathites and Merarites, they had their divisions. Like they had their leaders. But over all of them, at the end of the day, was a priest. Specifically here, Eleazar. Because again, I'm trying to do my best to really show there's a dynamic here. And that's specifically for a reason. We'll see that some Levites tried to revolt because they wanted the priesthood. But the Lord killed them because the priesthood wasn't just for any Levite. It was for specifically Aaron and his sons. And we'll see the Lord eventually makes that very, very clear. I mean, he makes it clear here, but he makes it clear through his actions later on by killing any of the people who try to side with those people in the rebellion, and like through like a display of like miracles that Aaron and his sons were the ones he chose. To point 33, now we get to see like the families of Merari. Of Merari was the family of the Mahlites and the family of the Mushites. These are the families of Merari. And those that were numbered of them, according to the number of all the males, from a month old and upward, were 6,200. And the chief of the house of the father of the families of Merari was Zuriel the son of Abihail. These shall pitch on the side of the tabernacle northward. And under the custody and the charge of the sons of Merari shall be the boards of the tabernacle, and the bars thereof, and the pillars thereof, and the sockets thereof, and all the vessels thereof, and all that serveth thereto. So now, the pillars that the cloth was put on, right? That the cloth was put on, and the bars to hold everything up, and the boards that were like the floors of the tabernacle, and like the walls and things of that nature, and the sockets, even like I mentioned them before, but really like even here, like the actual rings that the like hooks of the cloth were put into. They would take up these things, like I guess you call it the structural components. 37. And the pillars of the court round about, and their sockets, and their pins, and their cords. But those that encamp before the tabernacle toward the east, even before the tabernacle of the congregation eastward, shall be Moses and Aaron and his sons, keeping the charge of the sanctuary. For the charge of the children of Israel, and the stranger that cometh nigh shall be put to death. So there's even a spot for Aaron and Moses and Aaron's sons specifically. Because even that, like again, the priests are special. The priests aren't the same as every other Levite. They are special. They are different. They have different responsibilities, and they have different power. Like the priests can do many a thing that the Levites just literally cannot do. Yeah, and that's why he even says, the stranger cometh nigh shall be put to death. All that were numbered of Levites, which Moses and Aaron numbered at the commandment of the Lord, throughout their families, all the males from a month old and upward were 22,000. And the Lord said to Moses, number all the firstborn of the males of the children of Israel from a month old and upward, and take the number of their names, And thou shalt take the Levites for me, I am the Lord, instead of all the firstborn among the children of Israel, and the cattle of the Levites instead of all the firstlings among the cattle of the children of Israel. So he's like, dedicate the children of Israel to me. But we'll even see what, like later when he talks about the inheritance of land, that says about the children of Levi, well, I am their inheritance. So like they will get like some cities here and there because they need to live somewhere, right? But truly, I am their inheritance. So you guys, like me, like the rest of the tribes of Israel, are going to support them. They're going to have cities in like some of your lands. They won't have their own like strip of land specifically for them. They'll just have some cities around some of your lands for them, and you're going to have to support them, even like paying your tithes to the Levites. That's what they're supposed to do, to support the Levites so they could do the work of the Lord. But that's even what he's saying here, where the Levites I've taken for my own, like as like my firstborn, or as a firstborn. 42. And Moses numbered, as the Lord commanded him, all the firstborn among the children of Israel, and all the firstborn males by the number of names from a month old upward, and of those that were numbered of them were 22,203 score and 13. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, take the Levites instead of all the firstborn among the children of Israel, and the cattle of the Levites instead of their cattle, and the Levites shall be mine, I am the Lord. And for those that are to be redeemed of the 203 score and 13 of the firstborn of the children of Israel, which are more than the Levites, thou shalt even take 5 shekels apiece by the poll. After the shekel of the sanctuary shalt thou take them. The shekel is 20 gerah. And thou shalt give the money wherewith the odd number of them is to be redeemed unto Aaron and to his sons. Because even this was, like we saw, like at the end of like Leviticus, talking about how like the like committing something to the Lord, the same as like Samuel was in 1 Samuel, about like when you're like is it saying these people ought to be like the firstborn being redeemed of the Lord, they had to give like money or a certain amount or an offering, like for whatever it was, like some, like it could have been for a person, like a firstborn child, whether it was a boy or a girl, or the first fruits of like your cattle. So it could be like a bullock, a goat. It could be of the fruits of your labor, and I mean that in the sense of like your like agriculture, like of your field. So it could be like clusters of grapes or wheat or barley or whatever. But you have to like make like redeem it or make tribute for it, because the idea is that it was the Lord's, and you should be thankful that the Lord gave it to you. So you're basically giving an offering or giving money, like a certain number of shekels or like silver. Just think of it as money, like to the Lord. So now he's saying, well, instead of taking up everyone's firstborns, I'm taking the Levites. But there are more firstborns than Levites I'm actually taking. So for like the leftover amount, right, for the overage, like I'm taking 17 Levites, but there are 20 firstborns. So for those 3 firstborns that are left, I'm just using like examples, like just random numbers. So for those 3 firstborns that are left, that I guess like I'm owed for, because you still need to give it to me, just give me like $5 for every firstborn. So give me $15 in other words, and we'll call it even. And that's just how things will just turn out for now. And that's what he's saying to him. 49. And Moses took the redemption money of them that were over and above them that were redeemed by the Levites. So like that overage. Of the firstborn of children of Israel took he the money, 1,303 score 5 shekels after the shekel of the sanctuary. And Moses gave the money of them that were redeemed unto Aaron and to his sons, according to the word Moses, as the Lord commanded Moses. Because that's, again, who the money would go to. It was going to the priests and to the Levites. Because instead of being given wealth in terms of a bunch of land and all these things, like it was given to all of the rest of the tribes, they were given the work of the Lord, which is great and a great honor. But if we're talking about literal like physical riches for them to like survive, they weren't given the land. So the Lord's like, hey, you're giving to them, you're giving your tithes to them, so they can live and do their work to the Lord, like unimpeded. Because that's like they needed, like as with anything in life, right? To accomplish this work, we need like value. We need monetary money, right? For me to live and then also to do the actual work itself. So that's like how the tithe were going. And even here, like the money for the firstborn to be redeemed was going to the priest as well for that purpose. But yeah, that's chapter 3. That's how we're seeing that, like, that first division of, like, of Levi and what these, like, families of Levi would do and how they would take care of the tabernacle, especially in terms of moving it, especially from what we saw in, like, chapter 2. About how, like, the Levites was set forward in, like, the middle of the camp with, like, what was it? Judah and Reuben first, and, like, Dan and Ephraim behind him. But yeah, that's Numbers chapter 3. And with that, I think we're good. Excuse me. I think we're good to move on to Numbers chapter 4. Numbers 4 in verse 1. And the Lord spake unto Moses unto Aaron, saying, Take the sum of the sons of Kohath from among the sons of Levi after their families by the house of their fathers, from 30 years old and upward, even unto 50 years old, all that enter into the host to do the work of the tabernacle of the congregation. So now, again, the same way we saw as in, like, chapter 2 and a little bit of chapter 1, like, they're taking account of the family of the Levites, other people who are actually doing work. Before, they did, like, 1 month old and up, where they were just getting a number of just how many of these people there were. But now there's a specific age of, like, 30 to 50, sometimes you'll even see, like, 25 to 50, of the Levites that, like, this is the age of which they would do the work. Right? I'll even, like, see that at, like, the end, that there was, like, an age of, like, retirement, like, past 50. Because remember, they're hauling pillars and altars and arks at, like, the Ark of the Covenant. So, like, you don't want someone who's necessarily a lot older to be having to do all that. Like, physical labor is what they were doing, right? Because they were moving moving the wilderness, like, when they were traveling. So there was this age of which the Levites, like, from their families, moving the things and doing the work that, like, we read a bit about last chapter, specifically what they were moving. But this age range of 30 to 50, sometimes you'll see 25 to 50, but at the same point, this age range were the people who were doing this job, right? So now they're counting, okay, how many people do we have from this age range that will be doing this work for the tabernacle? Yeah, work in the tabernacle of the congregation. Verse 4. This shall be the service of the sons of Kohath in the tabernacle of the congregation about the most holy things. When the camp set forward, Aaron shall come and his sons, and they shall take down the covering veil, and cover the ark of the testimony with it. It shall put thereon the covering of badger skin, and shall spread over a cloth wholly of blue, and shall put it upon the staves thereof. This is what we talked about. I talked a little bit about last chapter. The sons of Kohath couldn't just walk in and just grab the Ark of the Covenant. No, because they weren't priests. They couldn't deal with this stuff the same way the priests were. So they have to first come in, take the veil down, cover the Ark of the Covenant with the veil, put some badger skin, spread it over a cloth wholly of blue, and put the staves in. Because even they weren't just grabbing the Ark of the Covenant itself and pulling it up. There were staves. So, like, sticks, and they would put into, like, the sides or, like, the rings of the Ark to where you can think of it like a coffin, like where a coffin sometimes has, like, a handlebar, like where they have, like, long handlebars on the sides, and people will pick it up by those handlebars. That's how the Ark of the Covenant worked too. They weren't just grabbing it by the Ark itself; they would grab it by the staves. Verse 7. And the table of the showbread shall they spread a cloth of blue, and put thereon the dishes, and the spoons, and the bowls, and covers to cover withal, and the continual bread shall be thereon. And they shall spread upon them a cloth of scarlet, and cover the same with the covering of badger skin, and shall put in the staves thereof. And they shall take a cloth of blue, and cover the candlestick of the light, and his lamps, and his tongs, and his snuff dishes, and all the oil vessels thereof, wherewith they minister unto it. So even all these things too, they had to cover up. Because they weren't priests. So they couldn't just touch in all of these, as the Lord puts it, in verse 4, the most holy things. They couldn't just touch him, grab him randomly. No, like, we have to prepare this for you so you don't die. Because these are the most holy things of the Lord, and you aren't considered worthy of touching them. So, we got to cover these things up for you. 10. And they shall put it in all the vessels thereof within a covering of badger skin, and shall put it upon a bar, and upon the golden altar. They shall spread a cloth of blue, and cover it with a covering of badger skin, and shall put to the staves thereof. And they shall take all the instruments of ministry, wherewith they minister in the sanctuary, and put them in a cloth of blue, and cover them with a covering of badger skin, and shall put them on the bar. And they shall take away the ashes from the altar, and spread the purple cloth thereon. And they shall put upon it all the vessels thereof, wherewith they minister about it, even the censers, the flesh hooks, and the shovels, and the basins, all the vessels of the altar. And they shall spread upon it a covering of badger skin, and put to the staves of it. And when Aaron and his sons have made an end of covering the sanctuary, and all the vessels of the sanctuary, as the camp is to set forward, after that the sons of Kohath shall come to bear it. So like once all of these things have been covered and prepared, then the sons of Kohath can come in and pick up these things in order to help move them to where the children of Israel are going now, right? But they shall not touch any holy thing lest they die. So you can think of it as literally they were tying. They would get a pole and they would get a bag. Or I don't know what's in this. It's labels. That's actually cool. But they would get the most holy things, put it in a cloth, put it in the bag, tie it up like this, and then get a stick, do it like this. And the sons of Kohath will grab this stick, and then they would move the things and carry them away. They couldn't just come out and just touch the things in here. They couldn't come out and just touch, pretend this is the Ark of the Covenant. They couldn't just come and just touch the Ark of the Covenant because they weren't priests. They weren't considered clean. They weren't considered holy enough. They couldn't do it. Yeah, but they shall not touch any holy thing lest they die. These things are the burden of the sons of Kohath in the tabernacle of the congregation. 16. And to the office of Eleazar the son of Aaron the priest pertaineth the oil for the light and the sweet incense, and the daily meat offering, and the anointing oil, and the oversight of all the tabernacle, and of all that therein is, in the sanctuary, and in the vessels thereof. And the Lord spake unto Moses and unto Aaron, saying, Cut ye not off the tribe of the families of the Kohathites from among the Levites, but thus do unto them, that they may live and not die, when they approach unto the most holy things. And Aaron and his sons shall go in and appoint them every one to his business and to his burden. So he's saying, don't let these people just die off. That's literally what he's saying. Don't let these people, let them live and not die. Don't let them be cut off by just letting them or having them or allowing them to just go in there and just touch of these things. Because they're going to die. Because that's not, they aren't holy enough. They aren't clean enough to go and just do that. I haven't sanctified them to do that. I haven't. So they will die. So you, Aaron, and your sons need to prep these things for them so that they can go in and fulfill their job in taking these things up and moving them for me. 20. But they shall not go in to see when the holy things are covered, lest they die. They have to wait until y'all are done, or they will die again. It's showing that big difference between the two. 21. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Take also the sum of the sons of Gershon throughout the houses of their fathers by their families. From 30 years old and upward until 50 years old shalt thou number them. All that enter into, perform the service to do the work in the tabernacle of the congregation. This is the service of the families of the Gershonites, to serve and for burdens. And they shall bear the curtains of the tabernacle, and the tabernacle of the congregation is covered, and the covering of the badger skin that is above upon it, and the hanging for the door of the tabernacle of the congregation, and the hangings of the court, and the hangings for the door of the gate of the court, which is by the tabernacle, and by the altar round about, and their cords, and all the instruments of their service, and all that is made for them, so shall they serve. And at the appointment of Aaron and his sons shall be all the service of the sons of the Gershonites, and all their burdens and all their service. And ye shall appoint unto them in charge all their burdens. This is the service of the families of the sons of Gershon in the tabernacle of the congregation, and their charges shall be under the hand of Ithamar, the son of Aaron the priest. So again, even here, where they're not to gain like the most holy things like the Kohathites did, but they're gaining again like the pillars, the hangings of the court. No, sorry, not the pillars. I just meant the curtains. Yeah, the curtains, the coverings, like the thing, like the court, the curtains and like the cloth that would make up the door, what would be the door of the tabernacle. Right? They would take up all these things. 29, where now we're at Merari. As for the sons of Merari, thou shalt number them after their families by the house of their fathers. From 30 years old and upward, even unto 50 years old, shalt thou number them. Everyone that entereth into the service to do the work of the tabernacle of the congregation. And this is the charge of their burden, according to all their service in the tabernacle of the congregation. The boards of the tabernacle and the bars thereof, and the pillars thereof, and the sockets thereof, and the pillars of the court round about, and their sockets, and their pins, and their cords, with all their instruments, and with all their service. And by name ye shall reckon the instruments of the charge of their burden. This is the service of the families of the sons of Merari, according to all their service in the tabernacle of the congregation under the hand of Ithamar, the son of Aaron, the priest. So now even here, like they get like I said, mentioned the pillars before, the pillars and the sockets and the pins and the cords and all like the other like instruments that are like used in like the service of the tabernacle. Not the most holy things, because remember that's what Kohath got, but just some of the other like miscellaneous things as well. And like we're all to like Merari to take care of. 34. And Moses and Aaron and the chief of the congregation numbered the sons of the Kohathites after their families and after the house of their fathers. From 30 years old and upward, even up to 50 years old, everyone that entered into the service, because remember, like, it was that age, you had to be at least this old and cut off at this old, for the work in the tabernacle of the congregation. And those that were numbered of them by their families were 2,750. These were they that were numbered of the family of the Kohathites, all that might do the service in the tabernacle of the congregation, which Moses and Aaron did number according to the commandment of the Lord by the hand of Moses. And those that were numbered of the sons of Gershon throughout their families and by the house of their fathers, from 30 years old and upward, even unto 50 years old, everyone that entereth into the service for the work in the tabernacle of the congregation, even those that were numbered of them throughout their families by the house of their fathers, were 2,630. They that were numbered of the families of the sons of Gershon, of all that might do service in the tabernacle of the congregation, whom Moses and Aaron did number according to the commandment of the Lord. And those that were numbered of the families of the sons of Merari throughout their families by the house of their fathers, from 30 years old and upward, even unto 50 years old. Everyone that entereth into the service for the work in the tabernacle of the congregation, even those that were numbered of them after their families, were 3,200. These are those that were numbered of the families of the sons of Merari, whom Moses and Aaron numbered according to the word of the Lord by the hands of Moses. So now they numbered all of the families of Merari, the families of Kohath, the families of Gershon, just of the people who are capable of doing like 30 to 50, the people capable of doing like the service of that, which you've read all about so far, right? These things and moving them as the children of Israel are like traveling throughout the wilderness, trying to eventually make their way to the land of Canaan, right? 46. All those that were numbered of the Levites, whom Moses and Aaron and the chief of Israel numbered after their families and after the house of their fathers, from 30 years old and upward, even up to 50 years old, everyone that came to do the service of the ministry and the service of the burden in the tabernacle of the congregation, because remember, it's at 30 to 50, and 50 was the cutoff, because remember, you don't want to have someone who's 65 trying to pick up giant heavy pillars. That shouldn't be how that works. So like there's the retirement age for like the regular Levites, which again, difference between priests, there wasn't a retirement age. Most of the priests died out of their jobs. Aaron being a prime example. Aaron at this point in time, he's older than Moses. Moses, when he first came, if you remember, when he first went to get Israel out of the wilderness, out of Egypt to bring them to Canaan, before they even made it to the wilderness, he was 80. He was 80. So when Moses, when the Lord commanded Moses to make Aaron priest, Aaron was already over 80 himself. It was over the 50-year-old cutoff. But that's because the 50-year-old cutoff is not talking about priests, it's talking about the Levites, whose job was to move the things of the tabernacle. Again, it's that difference where they're not the same, and you can't just apply one thing from the Levites to the priests and vice versa, because they just were not the same. Verse 48, even those that were numbered of them, so this is the number, were 8,504 score. According to the commandment of the Lord, they were numbered by the hand of Moses, everyone according to his service, and according to his burden. Thus were they numbered of him, as the Lord commanded Moses. Yeah. And here we have the number of the children of Levi by their families. Gershon, Merari, and Kohath. As well as them describing the job again. And then also just to the point, I've already made it. But just Kohath, they had the most holy things. But again, they couldn't just grab them, right? Aaron and his sons, the priests, because that's what's important, right? That they were the priests, and that's who Aaron's descendants are, right? They are the ones who can be the priests. Not being Aaron's son automatically makes you one, but to the point. They had to take the holy things, again, with the example, they had to take the holy things, put them into, cover them up with cloth, and then basically put staves, into the Ark of the Covenant as well as the items, with the cloth. And then the sons of Kohath, with the Kohathites, in other words, would have to come in and basically pick the stuff up by the stave or even by the cloth. But they couldn't just come in when the stuff was uncovered. They couldn't. Lest they would die, as was said in verses 20 and 18. That's even what cut off means. To kill, or to die, or to be killed. But yeah, that is Numbers 4. So with that being said, we can go ahead and move on to, Numbers 5. Numbers 5 and verse 1. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Command the children of Israel that they put out the camp every leper, and every one that hath an issue, whosoever is defiled by the dead. Both male and female shall ye put out without the camp. Shall ye put them, that they defile not the camp in the midst whereof I dwell. Remember, we've read in Leviticus a lot about being clean and unclean, and the things that make you clean and unclean. We saw a bit in Leviticus 23 in terms of touching a dead, unclean animal, or even just things that they have touched. We saw unclean by reason of dead body, and I think it talked about that a little bit in Leviticus 24, if I remember correctly. We saw a lot of that in general in the book of Leviticus, and we'll see it a bit more as we move on to Numbers. But remember, the whole importance of that, of the being unclean, was the Lord was dwelling among you. The same way it was with the Kohathites. You guys weren't holy enough, you guys have been sanctified to look upon these things and they're raw form without them being covered, or to touch them again when they're not being covered and stuff of the sort, right? Not everyone was holy enough to, a general Israelite couldn't go to where the priests were, or even where some of the Levites were. They couldn't do that. But even if you were unclean, you were considered dirty. And you can't go near into the tabernacle of the Lord. You can't be where the Lord is dwelling, because that's holy ground and that's special. And that's why being unclean was so serious, because the Lord is dwelling here, and we can't have you being here unclean near the tabernacle of the Lord. And if you touch someone when you're unclean, you make that person unclean. Think of it like cooties. I know it feels childish to say, but it is like cooties, where if you're unclean, you touch someone, they're like unclean until even for like fairly short amount of time, but they're still unclean, and it still gets passed on. So the Lord's talking about leper, that's something that makes you unclean. Have an issue, that's something that makes you unclean. Whosoever is defiled by the dead, that also makes you unclean. So these are things that make you unclean. He's saying, well, put those people out because, as he puts it, that they defile not their camps in the midst whereof I dwell, because that's the importance of it. It's not being unclean itself. We've said it many times before. It's not a thing of you're sinning by being unclean, but it's a thing of we're trying to avoid you defiling other people and defiling the camp, which means like think of it like the neighborhood or the people around you when the Lord is dwelling here, because we can't just have all of us be unclean with the Lord here. So you need to stay away until you're clean, and then you could come back. So again, not an issue of sin, but it's a matter of cleanliness, right? Again, cooties. Like, you're not sinning by having cooties, but it is gross. So please, stay away until you're not sick anymore. Think of the same social distancing, like with COVID as being a good example, right? You're sick, stay away from me. Not that you didn't do anything wrong, but you're sick, so don't just come around me. Right? 4. And the children of Israel did so and put them out without the camp, as the Lord spake unto Moses, so did the children of Israel. Because even remember, the children of Israel themselves, like when we're reading like chapter 2 about how the camp was split up, only the Levites were allowed to be near the tabernacle, everyone else had to be far from it. So like now, they're really just pushing everyone farther, because even, like I said before, there are places the Levites could go that everyone else couldn't go. And there are places that the priests could go that no one else could go. And the same way with like the normal people. So like it's just a separation, like gradient almost. So now we're pushing the lepers even further, or just the people who are unclean even further out. Verse 5. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, when a man or woman shall commit any sin that men commit to do a trespass against the Lord, and that person be guilty, then they shall confess their sin which they have done, and he shall recompense his trespass with the principal thereof, and add unto it the 5th part thereof, and give it unto him against whom he had trespassed. So this is about like you do someone dirty, or you do something against someone. You give what's called a trespass offering, and it says you give like what is the trespass up unto the 5th. So let's say I accidentally, or I do just purposefully take $20 from your wallet, right? Or I accidentally take $20 that were yours. I didn't know it was yours, so I take it, right? Well, now I realized that was your $20, so now I have to give you that $20 as well as like a 5th of it, so like an extra $4, right? So now I have to give you $24 as like a recompense that, hey, I'm sorry, I accidentally took your $20, right? But all to the point that like you have to like do right by like your mistake, right? You have to do right by your trespass and recompense. You have to give unto him against whom you have trespassed. Verse 8. But the man have no kinsman to recompense the trespass unto. So for whatever reason, you can't give the trespass, trespass offering back to the person you trespass against, whether it's something that happened but they're dead now, or they're gone. Well, whatever it is, you can't give it to them, right? Let the trespass be recompensed unto the Lord, even to the priest. So give it to the Lord, but like giving it to the priest, who's like giving it to the Lord, right? It's the same way. Because remember, priests and Levites, they were sanctified to the Lord rather than the firstborn. So really, they are operating on the Lord's behalf, doing the Lord's work. So give it unto the Lord, even to the priest, beside the ram of the atonement, whereby atonement shall be made for him. So your atonement being made for you because you committed a sin against your brother, right? You're doing this to make up for it, but you still have committed a sin against your brother. And every offering of all the holy things of the children of Israel, which they bring unto the priest, shall be his, and every man's hollow thing shall be his. Whatsoever any man give the priest, it shall be his, right? Like it shall be for the priest. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them, If any man's wife go aside and commit a trespass against him, and a man lie with her carnally, so now we're talking about adultery. Alright, so basically, if a man has a wife that's committed adultery against him, right? And it be hid from the eyes of her husband, and be kept close, and he doesn't know, and she be defiled, and there be no witness against her, neither she be taken with the manner. So she's done this thing, so she's committed adultery, but no one saw her do it, there's no witness, no one caught her doing it, right? She wasn't caught in the act. And the spirit of jealousy come upon him, but he's feeling that oh, I think my wife may be cheating on me, and he'd be jealous of his wife, and she'd be defiled, and she's cheated on him. Or if the spirit of jealousy come upon him, and he'd be jealous of his wife, and she'd be not defiled. So it's talking about both ends, because a dude can get jealous and suspicious that his wife is cheating on him, and she is just not cheating on him, right? That is something that can very clearly happen. So it's saying that whether it is that she, whatever it is, he gets jealous, he thinks she is. So whether she is or whether she actually isn't, we're going to keep reading. We'll see, that's the purpose of what's going to happen. We're going to do an offering to see whether she did cheat or whether she did not cheat, right? But at this point, it's just a thing of it's in the air, whether she did or not, but her husband is suspecting. He's feeling the spirit of jealousy. He's suspecting that she did cheat on him. And she committed adultery. 15. Then shall the man bring his wife unto the priest, and he shall bring her offering for her. In the 10th part of an ephah of barley meal he shall pour no oil upon it, nor put frankincense thereon. For it is an offering of jealousy, an offering of memorial, bringing iniquity to remembrance. And the priest shall bring her near, and set her before the Lord. And the priest shall take holy water in an earthen vessel, and of the dust that is in the floor of the tabernacle, the priest shall take and put it into the water. And the priest shall set the woman before the Lord, and uncover the woman's head, and put the offering of memorial in her hands, which is the jealousy offering. And the priest shall have in his hand the bitter water that causeth the curse. So here, the priest is taking off her head covering, because even 1 Corinthians 11 talks about a woman, when she's praying or prophesying, should have her head covered. And the book even talks about a woman, due to her head covering has the power over the angels, right? So he's taking this off of her, right? And he's giving her the offering of the trespasses. Well, he's got these waters that bear this curse, and whether this curse takes effect or not is going to tell us whether she did or did not commit adultery. 19. And the priest shall charge her by an oath, and say unto the woman, If no man have lain with thee, and if thou hast not gone aside to uncleanness with another instead of thy husband, be thou free from this bitter water that causeth the curse. But if thou hast gone aside to another instead of thy husband, if thou be defiled, and some man have lain with thee beside thy husband, then the priest shall charge the woman with an oath of cursing. And the priest shall say unto the woman, The Lord make thee a curse and an oath among thy people. When the Lord doth make thy thigh to rot and thy belly to swell, and this water that causeth the curse shall go into thy bowels to make thy belly to swell, and thy thigh to rot. And the woman shall say, Amen, amen. So it's just the priest even just explain the concept, hey, I got this water that curses. So whether you did do it or you didn't do it, we're essentially about to find out now. And the curse is he's explained the curse to her almost. When the Lord, this is the end of 21, when the Lord doth make thy thigh to rot and thy belly to swell, so your thighs are going to shrink up, and your belly is just going to swell, swell large, is going to blow up. Then we are going to know. And the woman agrees to it, saying Amen, amen. 23. And the priest shall write these curses in a book, and shall blot them out with the bitter water. And he shall cause the woman to drink the bitter water that caused the curse. So now she has to drink this water. And the water that caused the curse shall enter into her, and become bitter. Then the priest shall take the jealousy offering out of the woman's hand, and shall wave the offering before the Lord, and offer it upon the altar. And the priest shall take a handful of the offering, even the memorial thereof, and burn it upon the altar. And afterward shall cause the woman to drink the water. So, again, she's drinking of this water. And when he hath made her to drink the water, then it shall come to pass that if she be defiled and have done trespass against her husband, that the water that causeth the curse shall enter into her and become bitter, and her belly shall swell, and her thigh shall rot, and the woman shall be a curse among her people. So if she did sin, if she did commit adultery against her husband, then belly would swell, and her thigh would rot. If the woman be not defiled, but be clean, then she shall be free, and shall conceive seed. So, but if she didn't commit sin, then she's fine. Like, no curse was going to come upon her. 29. This is the law of jealousies, when the wife goeth aside to another instead of her husband, and is defiled. Or when the spirit of jealousy cometh upon him, and he be jealous over his wife, and shall set the woman before the Lord, and the priest shall execute upon her all this law. Then shall the man be guiltless from iniquity, and this woman shall bear her iniquity. So where it's like, this law is like on both sides, where the wife has gone aside to against her husband, meaning like she's committed adultery, or the husband has just gotten jealous and like falsely accused his wife, right? And if the priest will execute this law and basically be making the judgment of, well, she didn't do something, and you're just being like, you're just being jealous, right? You're being overdramatic, you're being jealous, like it's made up in your head. Or, no, she did cheat. Like, look at her thigh and look at her belly swell. Like, she did commit adultery. And like, it ends on, the man shall be guiltless from iniquity, and this woman shall bear her iniquity. But, yeah. And that's the end of chapter 5. Yeah. Chapter 5 even talks about a little bit of things that we have brought up before, just with like a little bit of the clean and unclean, and even just like with the trespass offering, it just goes back to like love thy neighbor as thyself. That whole thing where, like, if you do wrong against somebody, well, you should seek forgiveness quickly, because even Proverbs talks about, like, a brother offended is harder to be one than a strong city, right? Where you don't want to offend, you want to be kind, you want to be courteous, right? It is, if how possible, live peacefully with all men, right? It's something that Paul says, but it's all still to the point that all of us should continually be trying to live righteously and live kindly with one another. But yeah, and then just like that law about finding out whether the woman committed adultery or not, which unfortunately we cannot do now. Because even like that would help a lot of relationships, frankly, whether like finding out like, oh no, you are just lying on me, I did cheat, or oh yeah, you did. But yeah. Still to the point. Yeah. And I think, yeah. I think for today, we will call it here with chapter 5. Chapter 6, next time we're going to be getting into the Nazirite vow, as well as a few other things with chapters 6 and 7. But, yeah. So today we read through Numbers 1 through 5. Very good chapters. We got to see the dividing of how Israel traveled in terms of like the camps and where they dwelt. We got to see like the numbering of the children of Israel for war. Like as I said, like it's just all, we're seeing the building up to the point where they are going to go and try and find to the land of Canaan. Now, it's going to be a lot more time than we would expect before they actually would go into the land of Canaan and fight for the land. Because that happens in the book of Joshua. I don't want to, it doesn't matter. What ends up happening, and we'll see it as we read to the future, when they actually get to the border of the land of Canaan, they send spies out to spy out the land and see, see how the land is, see how good it is. But they see the people of the land, and they get afraid. And they're like, doubtful of the Lord. They even say, hey, let's find some people to take us back up to Egypt, because if we go there, we're going to die. And basically blaspheming the Lord, because the Lord's brought you here up to this point. But once again, Israel's afraid, Israel lacks faith, and they're disobedient to the Lord. So the Lord curses them to walk and wander in the wilderness for the next 40 years because they were too afraid to actually go up and take the land. And once those 40 years were over, that is when we see the book of Joshua, that the people who were alive after those 40 years went into the promised land and took it. But at this point, this hasn't happened yet. So we're seeing them, at this point, they were preparing to eventually to go do that, to go into the land of Canaan, except, they end up chickening out of it, chickening out. But they're preparing for it. We get to see the Levites, clear description of what they were doing, and even again, like I brought up a lot, but the difference between the Levites and the priests in terms of their ministering, their job, as well as just their pedigree, where the Levites couldn't do the things and couldn't touch and interact with the Lord's holy things in the same way the priests could, because they weren't sanctified. And that's even a way for us to remember for ourselves, where we don't really know if we are from Israel. We don't even know what tribe of Israel we are from. We can't confirm it. And then even if we could, we can't prove our exact lineage. When you look at Ezra and Nehemiah, is what you would need to do in order to be a priest and stuff of that nature. But beyond, not even just considering the Lord has to call you to do it, right? But to the point that all of us, and that's why even trying to have a tabernacle in the same way, trying to have a temple in the same way, a priest in the same way, we can't just do now, because none of us can set ourselves in that position to make ourselves that holy, when even the people the Lord ordained to touch these things, the Lord himself didn't have them be sanctified or be holy enough to where they could touch them in a particular way, where he literally had to have that Aaron and his sons wrap these holy things up so that they could touch them and move them as he had commanded. Also to the point that not everywhere can just be this sanctuary and be this tabernacle. It was a very, very special place to the Lord. And we can't just haphazardly replicate it, which I feel can be very well shown. Throughout this chapter, there's a lot of, you can very, very well tell how special and holy this place was to the Lord. But that's just me rambling about it. That being said, yeah, Numbers 1-5, wonderful place. Yeah. It doesn't look like, hello. Yeah, it doesn't look like we have any questions. So, I will end it with a particular verse. Alright. So, yeah. I'm going to just end today off with Ephesians 4:29. I'll read 29 through 32. Let no corrupt communication proceed out of your mouth, but that which is good to the use of edifying, that I may minister grace unto the hearers. And grieve not the Holy Spirit of God, whereby you are sealed unto the day of redemption. Let all bitterness and wrath and anger and clamor and evil speaking be put away from you with all malice. And be kind one to another, tender-hearted, forgiving one another, even as God, for Christ's sake, hath forgiven you. It is always good that all of us, we should operate in the ways of God. We should be forgiving. We should be charitable. We should be kind to one another. Whether others are kind to us or not, that's never a requirement, right? We should be forgiving even as God, for Christ's sake, not for our own, not because we've done anything great, but for Christ's sake, he hath forgiven us. So we need to do everything for the edification of others. Like the M29 says, that I may minister grace unto the hearers. Yeah. With that being said, thank you very much for joining us as always. Lord willing, I'll see you tomorrow. Yeah. Stay, show yourself approved unto God. All scripture is good for knowledge, rebuke, reproof, instruction in righteousness. Right? Yeah. Thank you very much once again. Have a wonderful night.